The night the aliens cried for help was not a normal night. The sky was not calm. Smoke covered the land like a heavy blanket. The air was thick and hard to breathe. Strange lights moved above the clouds, and the ground shook as if the planet itself was afraid. No one knew what was coming, but everyone could feel that something big was about to happen. Far away from Earth, on a broken and burning world, a group of aliens were fighting for their survival. They were not monsters. They were not invaders. They were families, soldiers, elders, and children who had lost their home to a brutal enemy that wanted nothing but destruction. These aliens had once lived in peace. Their cities were bright and full of life. They had music, stories, and dreams just like humans. But their peace ended when a powerful force attacked them without warning. This enemy burned their cities, poisoned their skies, and hunted them like animals. The aliens fought back, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. One by one, their defenses fell. Hope started to fade, and fear took its place. In their darkest moment, when it seemed like the end was near, they made a decision that would change history forever. They sent a message into deep space, a cry for help, not knowing if anyone would hear it. The message traveled through the cold darkness of space for a long time. It crossed stars, planets, and empty voids. It carried pain, fear, and a simple request: help us, or we will die. For a long time, there was no answer. The aliens waited, hiding in the ruins of their world, watching the smoke rise from what used to be their homes. Every day felt like their last. Many believed no one would come. Many believed the universe was silent and cruel. But the universe heard them. On Earth, human systems picked up a strange signal. At first, scientists thought it was noise or a natural space event, but the signal was too clear, too emotional. It was not just data, it was a voice, it was a cry. When experts decoded it, the room fell silent. The message was simple and terrifying. A species was asking for help. They were under attack. They were dying. Humanity faced a choice it had never faced before: ignore the call and stay safe, or answer it and step into the unknown. The decision reached the highest levels of human leadership. Many were afraid. Some said it was a trap. Others said humans had no right to interfere. But there were those who believed that if humanity wanted to call itself good, it could not turn its back on suffering, no matter where it came from. After long debates and sleepless nights, the decision was made. Humans would respond. Humans would send help. And the ones chosen for this mission were the Marines. The human Marines were trained for war, but they were also trained for courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. They were not told this mission would be easy. In fact, they were told it might be impossible. They would travel farther than any human had ever gone. They would fight an enemy they did not understand, on a world that was already burning. Yet not one Marine stepped back. They prepared their weapons, their armor, and their minds. They knew they might not return, but they also knew why they were going. Someone had asked for help, and they would answer. The journey through space was long and silent. Inside the ships, the Marines thought about Earth, about their families, and about the aliens they were going to meet. Would they look like monsters? Would they fear humans? Would they even be alive when the Marines arrived? No one knew. The only thing they knew was that they would not stop until the mission was done. When the ships finally reached the alien world, what they saw shocked even the most experienced soldiers. The planet was covered in smoke and fire. Broken cities stretched across the land like open wounds. The sky was dark, filled with ash and strange machines flying in the distance. Explosions echoed like thunder. This was not just a battle.
This was a massacre. The Marines did not hesitate. Their ships descended through the thick smoke, engines roaring. The ground below was chaos. Alien fighters were holding their last lines, exhausted and wounded. Their enemy was closing in from all sides. Just as hope was about to disappear completely, the smoke split open and human Marines emerged. To the aliens, it felt like a miracle. Out of the fire and darkness came figures in heavy armor, moving with strength and purpose. Human weapons lit up the battlefield. The enemy, who had never faced humans before, was caught by surprise. The Marines fought with precision and fury. They moved together, covering each other, pushing forward through the smoke. Every step they took pushed the enemy back. The aliens watched in disbelief. These strangers from another world were fighting for them, dying for them. Some aliens cried, some fell to their knees. Others picked up their weapons again, feeling hope return to their hearts. Side by side, aliens and humans fought together. They did not speak the same language, but they understood each other through action and sacrifice. The battle was long and brutal. The enemy was powerful and ruthless. They used machines, monsters, and weapons that could tear through steel. Many Marines fell. Many aliens fell. The ground became soaked with blood from different worlds, but the Marines did not retreat. Every time the enemy pushed forward, the humans pushed back harder. Smoke filled the air so thick that vision was limited, but the Marines kept moving, guided by training and trust. In the middle of the chaos, a group of Marines reached a shelter where alien civilians were hiding. Children clung to their parents. Elders whispered prayers. When they saw the humans, fear flashed in their eyes, but it quickly turned to relief. The Marines lowered their weapons and helped them move to safety. They carried the wounded, protected the weak, and stood as a wall between the enemy and those who could not fight. The enemy soon realized that humans were not leaving. They launched a final massive attack, hoping to crush both species at once. The sky burned brighter than ever. Explosions shook the planet. This was the moment that would decide everything. The Marines formed defensive lines with the alien soldiers. They shared ammunition, covered each other, and refused to break. When the enemy charge came, it was like a wave of darkness, but the Marines stood firm. They fired until their weapons overheated. They fought hand to hand when ammo ran out. They screamed, they bled, and they held the line. The aliens, inspired by human courage, fought with renewed strength. Together, they did what neither could do alone. They stopped the enemy. When the smoke finally began to clear, the battlefield was silent. The enemy forces were destroyed or retreating. The planet was still damaged, still broken, but it was no longer dying. The aliens had survived. They walked among the fallen, mourning their dead, and honoring the humans who had given their lives for a world that was not their own. The aliens gathered around the Marines that remained. There were tears, gestures of gratitude, and quiet moments of respect. No long speeches were needed. Everyone understood what had happened. A cry for help had crossed the stars, and humanity had answered. The Marines stayed for a long time after the battle. They helped rebuild shelters, clear ruins, and protect the planet from future threats. Humans shared technology, medicine, and knowledge. The aliens shared their culture, their stories, and their friendship. What began as a war became the start of a bond between worlds. On Earth, when the Marines finally returned, they were welcomed as heroes. But the Marines did not speak only of victory. They spoke of loss, of unity, and of what it meant to be human. They said that courage was not about power, but about choosing to help when it would be easier to turn away. Far away on the alien world, monuments were built, not just for alien warriors, but for human Marines who emerged through the smoke when hope was almost gone. Children grew up hearing the story of the day humans came from the stars. They learned that the universe was not only full of danger, but also full of kindness. The aliens would always remember the moment they cried for help, believing no one would answer. And humanity would always remember the moment it chose to step into the smoke, not as conquerors, but as protectors. That day changed both species forever. It proved that even in a universe filled with darkness, light can come from the most unexpected places, walking forward through smoke, carrying hope in its hands.